Hello and welcome to another episode of .NET in the Wild. Elahn, I
Woo!
was dancing too. I could see your head
You
going.
saw me?
I can see you. And I messaged you to say, I can see you're dancing. And I am
Okay.
too.
It's a great song. It's a great song choice for sure.
It puts me in a good mood. My
It
little
got me
head
hype.
bob. Yeah, I love it. So,
Yep.
hi, Luce. Welcome. So, Elahn, it's lovely to have you. Do you want to introduce yourself to everybody and tell everyone who you are and what
Yes.
you do?
Yes. Hi guys, my name is Elahn Dene. I am a new C# .NET developer. I have a YouTube channel, Elahn Dene Codes. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. And one thing I find myself just really loving at this point in my journey to learning .NET and C# is just the conversations around it. I love meeting new people, and I love having conversations like with Layla. I'm so happy to be here today. So yeah.
And I just shared your Twitter in the chat, and
Thank you.
I'm going to do your YouTube as well. And you've been doing great with your YouTube, lots of content, and you only started that
Thank
recently,
you.
didn't you? So
Yes. So I started it, like a year ago, and it's so crazy that it's already been a year. It's insane. But it was like just like a random thing. It was like I was having a book study session with some friends that I met online on WhatsApp, and the first session was so fun. It was such a great conversation. My co-host for the .NET Book Study series, Gabriel Emanuel, he had suggested that, we do this in podcast form. And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. So we started it on my channel. And back in January, this year, that's when I was like, you know what? This is what I want to do. For real, for real. So, so I'm I've been putting out as much content as I can, as consistently as I can since this last January. So I'm loving it, and I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. And yeah.
that's awesome. I'm toying, or not more than toying, planning to do more YouTube content. So I'm gonna have to
Nice.
come and talk to you to get some tips.
Nice.
I don't know. I've always been really nervous about YouTube, and I'm trying to get
Oh,
over that. So
me too. I'm not gonna lie. It has definitely been even with learning how to code, it was more of not letting that negative voice get to me, the
yeah,
imposter syndrome. So it's I'm kind of taking that, what I've been learning with learning how to code, and I'm also trying to apply it with my YouTube channel, just because it's when you put yourself out there and you create a platform for yourself, it can be challenging sometimes because, you feel like you have to have thick skin, and it's okay,
yeah,
who am I to be the voice or any type of voice,
yeah.
So I've just been trying to just do my positive affirmations and just have fun with it.
That's it. I think you've hit it on. I know Lise, she has done a lot about imposter syndrome, and just a great advice I got was for your first 100 videos or so, it is quantity over quality. Just get the videos out,
Oh,
whereas you will naturally get better. Don't let perfectionism stand in the way. That's really
thank you
great
so much.
advice.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. That's
One
brilliant.
of one of my problems is always I don't go for the progress over perfection model. I'm like, well, it has to be
Ooh,
good, or else.
me too. Me too.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I can't possibly put that out in public. What will people think?
Yes, yes.
It's like I've
I
got
don't want
house
hate
cats.
comments.
I know, it's terrible. I'm fine with Twitch. I don't care. I don't care on Twitch.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care at conference talks. I've given so many conference talks,
yeah.
but you think I could take that mentality over to YouTube? And I'm like,
No.
But no,
But
I can't.
yeah, yeah. But I think maybe it's just the adrenaline junkie in me. I like to try to push it, like just to
Yeah.
see how far I can take it, how far I can go, and not let, the negative voices get in my head. But what Lou said is brilliant. It's the quantity over the quality. Like you were saying, I struggle with that because it's like I want it to be good. And for me, it's just like, let's just focus on quality, but maybe I can make some adjustments. And that's one thing I've realized is I've been making since this January, I've been making a lot of adjustments. A
Well, that's
lot of
good.
adjustments and like just trying to pivot, trying to find a system. And, like I realize at the end of the day, it's just all about playing your game. Like some things work for some people, other things don't, but that's kind of like just getting comfortable with who I am and what I have to offer and just playing my game. So yeah, no,
Uh,
I think that's a great point, Luce.
It is. And I'm really impressed with what you do. Just because you have put yourself out there, and this talk of
Thank
like,
you.
oh my goodness, oh, none of that, because you've done
Yeah.
it, you've put it out, and that's awesome. So I need to follow in your footsteps. So
Layla, come on. You are so inspirational, Layla. Don't even get me started.
yeah, but it's still hard things to do. What
Okay.
So you said you started this YouTube channel because of your .NET book study group. Was that just code study or was that specifically .NET?
I think it was specifically .NET. I'm like over here trying to like remember how it all began. So we did the Little ASP.NET Core book by Nate Barbatini. And
Okay.
then we did interview questions for .NET, and now we are doing how to build REST APIs using .NET 6. So it's been pretty much just like .NET, and I think it's like a fun way to get people involved in learning and show like, hey, we're learning as well, even if we're talking about it, it doesn't make us experts. And hey, sometimes it's okay to not be an expert. I think
Yes.
what it's about is just having fun with it, and learning and putting yourself out there and seeing like how far you could go. And like that's what I want with my channel is just encouraging people to go as far as they would like or that they further than they could even imagine. I never thought I'd be doing this. So,
No, that's
no.
it. It's amazing. I think that code is such an opener. And
Yes.
I mean, I had a non-traditional background going through to code as well. And it really, it, it's got a very low barrier of entry, which is great. So
Right, right.
what made you start this? What made you choose .NET? What made you think, I'm going to learn to code? How did you get to that
Okay.
point?
Okay. So like okay. And I'm learning more about myself and about like my mind like as I go through this. So what made me start to learn how to code was fear. It was literally fear because of the pandemic. And it was like, I want to be employable. I want to have a skill. I'm seeing people lose their jobs everywhere and things are scary. I'm afraid. So I'm like, okay, now it's like maybe I should get into tech. How can I get into tech? Let's learn how to code. And so it was really based on fear. And as I continue to go through the journey and I continue to learn and have like a mental diet, because now I'm doing a mental diet where I'm doing my positive affirmations in my mind. What has helped me get over that is just having fun. And that's what's keeping me going. It's like I started with fear and now I'm just focused on having fun because like there's so much you can do with tech. So many like great people you can meet through tech. So many great places you can go with tech. So it's like you get tired of being afraid. Obviously the world didn't end. And like we've gone through changes, we had to
Yet.
adapt. We had to adapt. We had to adjust. We had to go with the flow. And that's what this is about for me now. I'm not afraid anymore. Things can be like maybe a bit of a challenge at times, but I am choosing fun over fear now. And I think that's what has helped me to keep going, and faith, like faith that everything is always going to work out and everything is okay. And I know that the learning is inevitable, like the knowledge, the experience when it comes to learning how to code is inevitable. I just need to focus on having fun along the way. So I hope that answers your question. When it comes
It
to
does, yeah.
a little bit, like the general. Okay, so for C sharp and .NET, what motivated me to take that direction? It was I was when I went onto YouTube, and it was the content creators. It was the content creators. I was looking on YouTube on how to break into tech. And the guy that I was watching, I can't really remember his name, but he had great videos on like, if you want to get into tech, this is what you do. And then I found out that, oh, he is a C sharp developer. So I'm like, okay, I like this guy's content. He's putting out great stuff. I feel motivated. I feel like I can do anything watching his stuff. So okay, I'll do C sharp. And one thing that during my research I learned is that honestly the language doesn't, like, focusing on the language is a distraction.
Yeah.
What's important is that you learn the concepts. So I just picked C sharp and I ran with it. And I just realized like it's fun to me. I love it. I love the people. One thing that was a bit of a challenge was finding the community.
Yeah.
So, like, when I went onto Twitter for like software develop hashtag software developer or something like that, I just saw a lot of Python, Java, JavaScript, and it was really like kind of frustrating. So I had to try to be a little bit more strategic in how I found the C sharp community. Like I found out that, you can't put two hashtags. You can't use two hashtags on
Yeah.
Twitter. So it has to be C and then sharp spelled
The
out,
word, yeah.
the word, and then .net. I found out it was hashtag dot, like all of it being spelled out.
DOT, yeah,
DOT,
yeah.
yeah. So that's what I found out. So, like, it just put me, once I found out what to look up on Twitter in the explore page, it sent me down a rabbit hole of meeting really awesome people, really great people. And then I realized, like, hey, like this, it's a great community. And, although it was a bit tougher to find this community, I feel like instead of focusing on the lack, I focus on how I can feel it.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I make the content that I do. Like, one, I like creating content. Um, Two, I love learning how to code. So why not do
It's
both?
all
Like,
coming together.
all come. That's how I feel. Like it's all coming together. And so, like I said, like I've been learning more and more about myself along this journey, and like what I like to do, what drives me, what motivates me, and like I just want to be that. I guess I won't say force, maybe force for other people where they can feel inspired to step outside of their comfort zone and learn how to code or whatever it is, and to keep going, to keep pushing, and to choose fun and faith over fear, So that's where my head is at right now.
But that's really interesting because I think fear is a great motivator, but it can also cripple you. So
Yes.
seeing
Oh
how you
man.
use that and then let it come into you, actually, what motivated me with the fear to come through here and like, oh my goodness, I need to make sure that I can put food on the table, has
Right.
now led you through to, wow, I'm doing something that I love and I enjoy. And it was kind of, I think I had a similar thing when I learned to
Oh
code,
wow.
and it was like I I'm not earning any money doing the job I do. I need a job that makes me employable no matter what.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
more stable. And that's why I was like, well, I'm gonna learn to code. So I did. And it's, like 6, 7 years on, I'm like, this has been a fantastic thing to do. And
Right.
I love it, and it's fun. And it's interesting how you've had a similar like mind journey to me, that
Yeah.
it's the fear of being able to exist like in a
To
financial
eat.
consumer world that we
To
live
eat,
in,
to live,
that's
to
it,
breathe.
to go through and find this thing that's actually really enjoyable. um and I think that's really interesting that you you chose the language based on like this guy's content because he was a good teacher. And I
Yes.
think that's such a good reason, because people learn in so many different ways. we
Yeah.
we connect with different people, and this is why you hear people go, well, why should I bother creating content? There's like a gajillion other people creating .NET content. But the difference is that you connected with that guy.
Yes.
Someone is going to watch your content or my content, or Copperbiddy or Justin or Luce, all of our folks in the chat. And hello, Mr. Tiny Corn Dog. God, that came out wrong. Never mind. Tiny Corn Dog. Welcome. And you'll connect with their different content, because there's a lot of content creators
Yeah.
in the chat there. And it's so important that we have these different voices, that it isn't just this homogenous like monopoly on content.
I agree.
So that kind of motivates me. I think, oh, why do they need another YouTube video on how to do X, Y, and Z with C#? And then I think, well, someone may connect with me. Maybe they
Yeah.
like the English accent. Um, maybe they something that they like, or the way I explain
Your
something they like.
personality, because you have a
This
great
is
one.
it. Well, it can be a little bit twisted and out there
No.
sometimes, but So I think it's really important to try and put all those like, who wants to listen to me, and shove them in a box, throw it away. So I think that's fantastic that you have come from this place as well, and sharing your learning journey, because I think so many people will look at, I don't know, people will say, God, you know so much. I can never know that much.
Yes. Oh my God.
And
Ah.
I think that lots of people feel that way. But I've had people go, well, how do you know all these things, Layla? How do you know how to do that and that and that? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how to do swathes of other stuff. I just keep plodding along. I keep loading the knowledge into my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it falls out on the way, like
Mm-hmm.
how to serialize and deserialize JSON. That just will not stay in.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
I Google that every time I code. It's
Yeah.
fine. And I've come to terms with that. I don't beat myself up because that won't stay in my brain.
And that's okay. Like
It's
literally,
fine.
it's okay. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm starting to learn. Like, hey, like at the end of the day, it's all about the mindset.
Yes.
Like it's I don't know if you've heard of that book. I think it's called Mindset, but it's about the growth mindset.
I
I think by
haven't. Let
Carol
me write
Dweck.
that down.
I think it's by Carol Dweck. Let me check it out. Carol Dweck. Growth mindset. Literally, like that's what this is all about. Like, because you kind of start to realize, like, if like the person who even started .NET, like the first person or the first person who wrote the first line of code, thought like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, I can't do this. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Like, I have no right. Like, we wouldn't get anywhere.
No.
So it's like, I think we have to stop selling ourselves short. We are supposed to be creatives. Like, as human beings, we are creators and we are supposed to create. And I think and we're supposed to have fun. That's what I think. And I feel like we have to allow ourselves to have fun because that is where we get that creative energy. Not to get all woo woo, but
No,
like,
but it's true. If we're not stimulated because we're like, oh, here I am just doing yet another data entry form, and
yeah,
you're like, oh my goodness, hi, Swinburger. And you just go and you're like, oh, God, you're not going to be creative and think, well, how can
Yeah.
I make this a better user experience rather than the
Right.
same form I've been doing for the past 4 years? Because like a lot of web development, which is what I used to do before I went into DevRel, was crud, and it's just rinse and repeat. Oh, I'll just copy and paste that form, and you're like, oh, it's like
Ugh.
it saps the enjoyment out of it because you're
Yes.
not being
Yes.
creative and you're not having fun. So it's important to try and find that way to keep
Right.
injecting that bit of fun into it
Right.
and that enjoyment. Um,
Right.
and
I,
that,
I, I
oh no, go
sorry.
ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say like I feel like I have so much to say. Like I feel like we have to move away from imposter syndrome
Yeah.
and move towards imagination, because that is what changes the world. That is how we get innovation and just allowing ourselves to be in flow and to have fun, because that I feel like we are our best selves when we're having fun. So I feel like it's all mind, it's all mental, it's getting out of our own way. It's saying like, hey, I don't know everything right now, but who's to say that I can't learn a lot like a year from now or
Yeah,
2 years from now, you know? Like it's just not having that mental block. That
that's
it's
it.
the fear is fake, the fear is an illusion. That's what I've told myself.
And this and allowing yourself to fail like that allows
Yes.
you because it's fun to go, oh my goodness, that was such a disaster, why did I do that? And then you're like, well, you
Gotta
learned. You're like,
if
I do that all the
there's
time.
an
I'm like,
explosion behind you, like, wow, I gotta go.
oh, why did I do that? Oh well, you live and learn,
You live
hopefully.
and learn.
So I think that it's really important to allow yourself to fail and to be, if where possible, if you can have a a job in an environment where you're given that room to fail and just go there. I like this. Blues Man said, fear, false
Dang.
evidence appearing real. That's a
I
very
love
good
it.
definition of
I
it.
love it. That's brilliant. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. I like that.
So I think this is it's interesting because I used to suffer from imposter syndrome, and then I I just put it away one day. It's not that I don't feel that sometimes, but I've put it in a box. I know that it's there, and I just know how to tell myself that it it's okay to feel like
Right.
this.
Right.
And when you hear about it on communities and when you talk with people, everyone feels it at some point. Maybe not people right at the peak of their Dunning-Kruger about to crash down, but we all sort of feel that we don't belong sometimes, and it's a
Yes.
normal feeling. But it was like one day a switch went off. I spoke to a female mentor of mine. She was like the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer at a company I worked for, and I had a one-to-one with her, and I was supposed to be giving a conference talk that was more about like my journey. And I said to her, why would anyone want to hear about my journey and things? And then I sort of spoke to her about imposter syndrome. And she says,
Yeah.
you need to like put that away. It's
Yeah.
there, acknowledge it,
Yeah.
but don't let it own you. And
Yes.
she said that, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's okay. It's there,
Yeah.
but it doesn't need to sit on my shoulder. It can sit in the corner, and that's fine. That's exactly. And it changed my way of thinking. So I try to, when I talk to people and they feel like, oh, it's getting too much, and the sort of imposter syndrome, it's about how your mindset, you see, as you said, it's all coming back to your mindset, how you perceive that imposter syndrome. Do you see it as something that is going to cripple you, which it feels like that at first? Or do you see it as something like, yeah, it's there, but I'm not going to let it win, and you come
Right.
around it? And
Right.
I think what you've said is really profound. It's all about your mindset. Like just learning to code. It's
Yeah.
hard, and there's lots of concepts, and you're like, I'm never going to be able to load this book, which is
Yeah.
like this big. How is all of that going to fit
Yeah.
inside my head? But it does, or
It
a good
does. Yeah.
proportion of it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I also think like even with that voice, that imposter syndrome voice, if you imagine that it was like a separate person from you, and
Yes.
any good thing that happens in your life, they're just there saying, what are you even doing? This is stupid. You're not
Mm,
good at this. Like, you would be like, I don't like you. Go
yeah.
away. We're
Away.
not friends anymore.
And you cut them out of your life, don't you? Because they're too much of a
Exactly.
negative influence. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's it.
like, what? Any good thing that happens, you're here. No, like,
Go
no,
away.
I accept the beauty and the great opportunities into my life. And it's like no, like I think we all need to treat ourselves with compassion and talk to ourselves like, like we wouldn't go to our best friend or our family members and say, oh, you're dumb, like this is stupid, why would anyone want to hear this? Like we wouldn't want, I would hope not.
Well, if you did, you'd
Like,
cut them
yeah.
out of your life pretty quick,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
exactly. So it's like, why would we do that to ourselves? Why would we look ourselves in the mirror and say all these cruel, mean things? It's like that doesn't it doesn't do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like if anything, it's better to like maybe try to balance it out. Like, oh, I don't know about this, but how can I learn?
Yeah.
I know I have the ability to learn and not dwell in that like it does nothing. It does nothing, and it's annoying.
And your attitude is fantastic with the way you approach it and the way you speak about that. And I hope that that helps other people with the way that you share that, because it's a really lovely mindset. That's stuck in my head now of how you go to that. So
Good. No.
you've whammed into my brain now. Um,
Good.
so you've given, I seem to recall that you gave a talk at a conference
Yes.
already, haven't you?
Yes.
At least one. Was it at .NET Conf
Yeah,
last
it was
November?
in
Yeah.
November. Yeah.
And
Oh my
how was
God.
that? What did you give your talk on? I can't remember. I can't remember
Um,
last November at all.
yeah. I know the months have been flying. It's already almost May. It's insane. Um, so I gave a talk. It was called "Not Thinking Small: My Journey to Learning .NET," and like it's kind of like how we're discussing here. It's
Yeah.
basically my journey and dealing with imposter syndrome and choosing to think and dream big over dealing with the hater imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So, and even then, like it was such a high, such a rush for me because it was my first talk, and like I never thought, like what I thought was me just learning how to code. It was like, whoa, like I'm talking at a conference. How cool is that? I didn't think that that would be a step in my journey. I feel like I was supposed to do it, but when I first started back in August of 2020, I didn't expect to speak at a conference a year later. And I think that's incredible. That's why
Yeah.
I freaking love Czech. I love it. Like, I love
No barriers.
it.
No,
And
the
no
only
barriers. It's
barriers are the
like,
ones you put in yourself. Yeah.
yeah, it's the mind. So it's like, whoa, like, this is pretty awesome. But I will say, like, I had some anxiety
Yeah.
before just because, like, and I'm not claiming this now, but in the past, I've had social anxiety. And so with social anxiety, it would be tough to like have conversations with people, like feeling like self-conscious or like, like the usual anxiety. And so like the idea of like just speaking about my journey and something that I'm new at, like to people who like all over the globe, like that was crazy to me.
Yeah.
It was a little bit like I said, an adrenaline junkie. It was pretty cool, like just to see how far I could push it. But it was just me kind of like having to battle myself and like getting this feeling in the pit of my stomach, like what am I doing? What if I mess up? What if I stutter? What if I have to
It's like,
sneeze?
look at it here, and you're just like,
Yeah. Like, oh my
oh, come on.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And so like I just remember like maybe like a week, maybe a couple weeks before the conference, um, I just like it was I was driving home from work and I was just in the car and I just felt like I felt it all day. I was trying to get rid of it. And then I decided, hey, I'm going to speak this out. I'm going
Yeah.
to talk to myself. And I might look crazy as I'm driving, but I don't care. I need to talk it out. And like it was just like, okay, like what am I feeling? I'm feeling imposter syndrome. I'm feeling like I'm not qualified. I'm feeling like why am I supposed to be there? And I had to like have a counter conversation with it. And I
Yeah.
had to like kind of try to find like some logical reason for what I'm feeling. And I kind of realized like, like you wouldn't have been asked to speak at that conference if you weren't qualified, if you didn't have a story to tell, if your story wasn't inspirational. Like it could inspire somebody,
Yeah.
and that's just as valid. And it was also like realizing like imposter syndrome. You get imposter syndrome when you're doing well in life. When you have a beautiful opportunity in your face, and when you're taking a chance, when you're having fun. Like when an opportunity presents itself to you, that's when it comes up. So maybe instead of dwelling in the imposter syndrome, maybe looking at the fulfillment, like of what is happening. Like this is a great opportunity. You're having fun, and you should dwell in that. And I guess it's also like going back to mindset. It's about where you choose to dwell. Do you choose to dwell in the lack, in the imposter syndrome, in the negativity, or do you dwell on what could be? Like, hey, this is a great opportunity. This is fun. This is different. This is exciting, and just dwelling in the excitement. And I feel like why wouldn't you want to dwell in the excitement? Like if you really think about it, like if you had a choice of your reality, like to stay afraid, to feel small, to feel like you can't do it, or there's another path, and it's to feel excited and to have
Yeah.
fun and to feel inspired and to learn and to grow, like and to expand your experience, expand your mind. Like which one are you going to choose? Like, and you kind of have to like think of it as that. It's like I'm going to pick this one that feels good. I'm going to dwell in this one.
Yeah.
So that was even then that doing the conference was a learning experience, and it was also part of my journey because it was really like the first time I spoke at a conference like that. So I really like that.
So I think what you're saying almost is like you have to have a conversation with yourself as if you're talking to a small child. If you consider
Yes.
a little child and you're saying, we're going to go to Disneyland, and they're like, we're going to go to Disney? And you're like, yeah, we're going to go to Disney. And they're like, oh. And you go, you should be really excited. It's going to be so much
Yeah.
fun. And then they're like, we're
Yeah.
going to Disney. And you almost
Yeah.
have to
Right.
persuade yourself because, a little kid might be like, well, I'm scared of leaving home. I like my routine. I don't want to go. And then you're like, but you're going to Disney. And then it starts to settle. And I can see as you were describing this, I was like, it's so like trying to persuade a child to
Yes.
be excited and giving them
Yes.
permission
Yes.
to
To-
be excited and saying it's okay, it's another normal reaction to be excited. Because I think in today's society we're often, it's frowned on to be excited and have that childhood joy, and it's okay to feel joy and excitement, and you can give yourself permission to feel that, because I think too much is cynical. Like you have to be
yes.
jaded and like, yeah, am I
Yes.
bothered? No. um,
It's nothing.
it's fine, I guess, if I have to. uh, and I think we need to be able to be like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I can't wait to do this. And that shouldn't be frowned upon or thought to be silly or immature or anything. At
Yes,
any age, we should be allowed to feel joy.
exactly.
And you describing that sort of crystallized that in my brain. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I love
So
that, Layla.
yeah,
I love that. That's really what it is giving yourself permission to just have fun. Like, why can't, like, I feel like we deserve that. Like I said, like, after all we've been through with 2020, like, the craziness, it's like, now it's time to freaking live and have fun. Like, why, like, we deserve that. And I feel like it's like that conversation. It's like, no, we thought, at least for me, like, I thought the world was over. I thought the world was ending. And
yeah.
it's like,
You can see I'm still thinking, yeah, it might.
I don't know. Layla, don't scare me. You're talking about fear. Don't
It's all
scare me.
fine. It's all fine.
But like that's like it was just such a dark time. So like, hey, if good things are happening, I'm gonna dwell in the good things. I'm gonna dwell in the positivity. Like I feel like that's what we deserve. We deserve to have fun. We deserve to be excited. We deserve to accept wonderful things into our lives. Like, and it's just so crazy. Like how, like you said, like the how we can be at times not, and maybe not mean, but just in general, society can be like cynical
Yeah.
at times. Like, oh well, like just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, oh well, that's all right. Like, just not. It's like we're afraid of being happy,
Yeah. And I think
and
that's, it is valid sometimes.
it is valid.
But I think we have to train ourselves to move away from that, to try and it's easy to sit with that glass half empty feeling, because
Yes,
sometimes
yes,
I know that I will do it. I will be like, yeah, because it's easier if I like plan for the worst, to expect the
yes.
worst, and then I'm not disappointed. I'm not like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing, and then I'm like, it really wasn't, and it went terribly. And so there's a fine balance, to
Yes.
find where you're prepared, and that the something if something doesn't go to plan, that it doesn't crush you, but
Yes.
if that you are able to embrace it if it does. So
I
I
agree.
think there's this
I agree.
balance,
I
and
agree.
yeah.
Sorry. I feel like I'm just talking.
Oh no, fine. There is lag because you and I are like many thousands of miles apart.
Which is
And
cool.
yeah, exactly. You see, we've connected through tech, through communities. And I know several people told me last year, you must speak to Elahn, you must speak to Elahn. So Maria Nagaga said to me, I spoke to her last summer, and she's like, have you met Elahn? And I was like, no. And
Oh my
then
god.
Cecil Phillips was like, have you met? I've heard of Elahn now because Maria
Yeah.
Nagaga spoke to me about her earlier in the year. I'm like, yes, I've
God.
connected with Elahn now.
Yeah. We're
So
connected.
we're connected. So are you going to do more conferences, do you think?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like I was thinking that like, I have moments in the mornings like or like at all times kind of like where I check in and I'm like, okay, what do I want? And like just being honest about like what I want. And I was thinking like even this morning it's like I want to speak at more conferences. I have a lot of fun just like or even like this, Layla. I
Yeah.
love having conversations and like and exploring with you and like exploring like different topics. Like I love this stuff. I would definitely, I would totally love to speak at more conferences for sure.
All
For
right,
sure.
I'm going to send some your way now, because now you've told me
Okay.
that, I'm like,
You're,
you're going to be at ones with me now, so that we can connect
yay!
in person.
Oh,
And
I would love
Swinburg,
that.
just saying, you say that you're going to try and focus more on enjoying life. That's like, good.
I
We
love
all
that,
need to do
Swinburger.
that. So that's really amazing.
Yes.
So where do you fancy taking your learnings? You know, you've got the community that you're building, you're coming in with into the existing community, helping make it a better place. You've got your content that you're doing, you're going to do more like this type of thing in conferences. Where do you see this going? What do you want to do with the future? Where do you see yourself? I'm not going to say like 5 years, but like 6 months, a year. What do you see
Yeah.
you doing around this type of thing?
I know my ultimate goal is to have my own business. That's my
Yeah.
ultimate goal, and that's what I'm working on. I'm still figuring it out. Like I said, it's all new. It's all a journey. It's all me kind of like finding my way and things coming all together. But I do know that my ultimate goal is to have my own business. So, and I guess the journey of how it gets there, how I get there, I'm still kind of figuring it out, but that is my ultimate goal.
Well, that is a very awesome goal. And will that be around coding, or do you see it as
Yeah, oh
something
yeah, oh
else?
yeah,
Yeah.
like coding and like creating content. Like I would love to do something like that, and like doing this for a living. Like oh, I would love it. I would love it. Just meeting wonderful people like you and just and talking about the experience and what we're building and the new features. So that's my goal.
Yeah, it was one of the things when I moved from engineering to developer relations that
Yeah,
I get to do this type of thing as my day job and creating content and learning new things and trying to make communities better. And it is a joy to do it,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
wonderful. And I still get to do code, but I don't get stuck with some of the nastier bits of code that I don't want to do. I'm like, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to
Right.
work on that. That can,
Yeah.
we'll just ignore that bit. That can go
Ignore it.
sit in the corner with the imposter syndrome
Right.
out there.
The
So
haters go to the corner.
over there. So I think if one of the things I learned a few years ago is that if you're not enjoying something, you need to cut it loose, and you need to just think about how short life is and how
Yes.
much
Oh,
that life we spend having to earn money. And so it
yes.
should be something that doesn't necessarily make you happy all of the time, but can make you content and
Yes.
have those moments of joy. And there are things that, you just think, "Ugh, I can't wait for my vacation because I just need to escape."
No.
That's
Yeah.
when you need to start thinking about changing. And I've sort of met with women over the years, and I say women because I connect with a lot of women in the community. I do know men who have changed their careers as well, but I have more experience with women. So this is not specifically to women; it's just that's my experience, where they've
Yes.
been, they're stuck in a job. I think there was one girl I met a while back, and she was doing HR. This was several years ago, and she was just
Oh wow.
bored, and she didn't really enjoy it. And she came to like a women's group where I coached, like a women's beginner group. And she was just like, is this something that I can even do? Could I change career? And I
Yes,
think
you
that's
can.
it.
Yeah.
And I think anyone, if they have the ability to give it some time, and this is things people ask me how I did it, and I did intensive sort of training for 8 months. I took my textbooks on holiday with me, and I
Oh
did
wow.
code every day because I really wanted it. And I've had people go, well, I have a family, I have a job that I have to work like 40 hours a week, and I have family, and it's like, so I'm sure in some of that time you watch some YouTube, or you're watching some, like, I don't know, Married at First Sight Australia edition. I don't know what people watch these days. And it's like, well, maybe a couple of days a week you don't watch that TV show, and you go and watch a YouTube that's on coding, or you you have your lunch hour, you sit, and whilst you're eating your sandwich, you're sort of tinkering with some code. It's hard
Yeah.
to change that, but I think
Yeah.
that's, you can still put time in. Yes, it's going to take you longer, and that's okay, because
It's okay.
family
It's
comes
okay.
first, and your, you're putting food on the table comes first, but you can fit something in there, even if
Yeah.
it's like half an hour here, half an hour there. It will all start to add up in time, because not everyone is privileged enough to be able to just say, yeah, I don't have any dependents.
Yeah.
I can just, I work an easy job that's, gives me my evenings free. I'm not working two jobs or whatever, and you can make that time. And but there's some people who don't. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't stop people, because people are like, I can't do this. I have a kid and I have a job, and this, and like one girl I met, she's a single mum, and she works, and her has to take her kid to school and stuff like that. But boy, does she know all about the soaps, and the all the popular content. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
watch
Yeah. Yeah.
TV, reality
Yeah.
TV, but she knew
Yeah.
everything about who this one's seeing and that one's seeing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you put even this much of the energy that you put into like staying on top of, I don't even know what you call it now, popular culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. You just slice that in half and put half of that into like learning something new, then you're
Yeah.
already so much closer.
It's the
So
awareness.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now there are just so many resources. So you have your book club. Is that something that you created, or was that something you found?
Oh, we created it.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, because that's one of the ways that I kind of met my friend Sophie, who is also a C#.NET developer. We read a book. It was called, I hope I can remember this, where wizards stay up late. And it was about the making of the internet. And so that's how she and I, like, we became friends and close, where we would meet every 2 weeks to discuss the chapters we read. And it was just like, it was so fun. And so she introduced me to her group chat on WhatsApp. And that's when I was like, you know what, like, I want to learn more. I want to learn about ASP.NET Core, and MVC. And then she suggested that we had another book study session, but with more people. And so that's how I found my co-host, Gabriel Emmanuel. I feel like I've just been stumbling into like meeting awesome people, and that's what I love. But I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, going back to what you were saying about studying. Like, I realized it is about your awareness, like what you pay attention to, what you care about. And I also will say, like, it's about what you're focused on. But I will say it's like also like kind of learning how to take breaks as well. I will say, like, the first, like, 2020 and 2021, I put a lot of pressure on myself when it came to learning how to code. If I missed like even a day, I was very hard on myself. And what helped me now is realizing, like, hey, this can be a journey. This is a journey. And allowing it to be a journey and working into my life. Like, this is, and I guess, like, that could be a privilege to do, because some people, they may feel like they need to find a job now and to feed their family and stuff like that. For me, I'm just enjoying the learning process. I like making content. I like having conversations, and that's what works for me. Is just understanding, like, this is what I do now. This is a part of my life. Like, I don't have to maybe study like 4 hours every day, like nonstop, and not see my family,
No.
or not go on hikes. So I think this year, at least for me, is all about fun and balance. Um, doing the studying, doing the work, but also allowing myself to have fun and take the breaks that I need. And it's all just a process. At least for
Yeah.
me, that's what I'm learning when it comes to studying.
And it's just balance as well. So, yeah.
Balance for sure.
And as you say, it can be. I see these things like 100 days of code, and I think you don't need to do it every single day. You can take a break. It could be
Can we talk
100 days.
about that?
I think, oh my goodness, there's this pressure to conform to this social media thing, and
Yes. Oh my God,
it's
Layla.
it's too
Preach.
much. And I just think it's not. It's like hackathons. I'm
Yeah.
not a big lover of hackathons, traditional hackathons, where you go and you're 48 hours locked in a venue where they feed you like crap, like copious amounts of pizza and bacon butties or whatever, and then
Yeah.
you tag team through this hacking code through the night, sleeping on like in a
Oh
chair
my,
with your
that's a
coat over
lot.
you. And I'm like, this is not healthy. And
Yeah.
we can't make this about the culture. And so there's this preconception. Don't even get me started on how the media represents developers, because it makes
Talk
my
about
blood
it.
boil.
We
When
can go
all
down that
these
rabbit hole.
I see, like, I don't see people that look like you and me, or half
Yeah.
the people I work with. I
Yeah.
see people who are like in hoodies, who have very alternative looks.
Yeah.
I think half of the people think that people who are, you can only be a software engineer if you have copious amounts of piercings and wear all black.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's fine. You can be a developer if you have all piercings, but you know, and you're tattooed from
Yeah.
head to
Yeah.
toe. I don't, and you know,
It's a
you're,
thing.
you know, if this is it, you've got a hoodie and you're in a dark room. Oh my God, daylight! No, no, that's it. You know,
Is that the
and
sun?
this is it. Or more recently, I saw a female coder, and my
Oh.
goodness, this character was snarky as, and you know, in a hoodie,
Oh.
as you say, Copper
The
Beardy,
same hoodie.
in a hoodie, the black hoodie, and she had bright red hair and like the attitude. Everyone was scared to talk to her, and I'm like,
Oh.
there are people like you and me, like nice, friendly,
Yeah.
normal
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I guess it's like you have
neither
to
of us are
fit
wearing
like
black.
I know. Unless it's October, then I go goth.
And that's fine. But like, it's okay. You can code and wear color.
Yeah. And I think it's like breaking the mold. Like,
Yeah.
hey, like it's like just do your thing, and like you don't have to. You can be you. That's
This is
what it
it.
is.
It's
Be
completely
you.
that. You don't have to
Be you.
conform. You can be as girly and feminine as you like, because when I first got into engineering, I was like, I have to make myself a bit more like one of the boys. I'm going to wear
One of the
jeans
guys.
and a
Sup?
hoodie and just be like, yeah, whatever. Whatevs, you know? Oh my God, yeah. It's okay. We can have Innuendo Friday. I'm not
Yeah.
bothered. It's
Yeah.
fine. And and then I've sort of going, well, I shouldn't have to change. They can be lads, you know,
Yeah.
and because
Yeah.
I worked on all male teams, but I can still be
Okay.
a girl.
Yeah.
And I got myself a software developer Barbie, and she sat on my desk.
Oh, you're
She's just
brilliant.
over there.
You're brilliant.
You
That's
want to see my
amazing.
software developer
Yeah.
Barbie?
Please, can we see? Break out Barbie. And I even like, it's so funny that you have that, because I even have like that Barbie jingle in my head when it comes to this whole thing, like, be who you wanna be.
This is software developer
Ooh,
Barbie,
go Barbie.
and she has her laptop, which has some
Nice.
stickers.
I see you, Barbie.
And what does she have on it? Do I see? So she sat on my desk. Oh, is that not the right one? I have to put her down to open
Oh
this.
my god. Tiny, it's a tiny laptop.
It's a teeny tiny laptop.
Teeny
Oh, there we
tiny
go.
laptop.
And she looks like she's got Visual Studio on it.
Dang, go Barbie.
So she's building. She's got some.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I need one of those.
Yeah, there
That's
we go.
amazing.
That's it.
I
So
love that.
there we go. She can hold her laptop. That's it.
Dang.
So yeah,
I
I got
love
her,
it.
and I sat her on my desk, even with her incredibly long legs. I mean,
Work it, Barbie.
they got some long legs.
Work it.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, I could be a girl. Like Barbie's quite inspirational. She has
Yeah.
had like over 1,000 careers, so it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's what I love. That's what's so inspirational about Barbie. I'm like, dang, okay, get like Barbie. Just do what you want.
That's it. And Napalm, did I downgrade what? Did I downgrade like my environment? Is that what you mean? So I think it's interesting. What's come out of our conversation, Elahn, is that it's allowing yourself to fail, allowing yourself to be happy.
Yes.
Oh, my laptop. The teeny tiny one.
Yeah.
It's allowing yourself just to experiment and try new things and
Yes.
and to have time to learn stuff. So I've just shared. I'll share it again, Elahn. I've shared your website, and you've got links to everything on your website, I think, haven't you? So that's probably go and follow. And YouTube content coming up.
Yep. Always, yeah.
And I think that went out. Yeah, that went out everywhere. So go and have a look. And there's anything else that you want to share, Elahn?
No, I think we talked a great deal today. It was so fun. Thank you so much for having me on, Layla. I would love to do this again. Again, thank you. And thank you guys for watching us chit chat and being a part of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to do something with you finally.
Yes.
So yeah, well, what I normally do, Elahn, is that the guest gets to pick where we're going to go. Chat can suggest some. Let me go and see. What have we got going on here? And let me see if I can get back to Twitch. I'll leave that one open. I'm trying to open it up. And I'm going to definitely be sharing some conference talks with you, conference places that you can go and submit to.
That would be awesome.
Oh, this looks like an odd collection of people coding here. It doesn't look like the normal array of stuff. I would give you a choice, but I don't know, folks. Is it because it's Easter? It's like spring break, Easter holidays. It's not I don't see any of the usual people who are going. We've got Jeff Fritz. We could go raid him.
Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Shall we go raid him then?
Let's do it. I'd love to.
Oh, is Code Rush going? I didn't see him. Well, let's go do Jeff. Is Code Rush live? I didn't see him. Code Rush is awesome. He has loads of interactive stuff going on, and he does C# and
oh, that's awesome.
And lots of desktop. He has some of the coolest interactive stuff I've seen. And there's Lana Lux doing some game dev in Unity. I can't see Code Rushed. Am I just being blind? Let's see. Let me have a look. We'll have this up. So, we have One Lioness on. So
nice.
See him. Oh, we have got. I can see Code Rush. So we've got a choice. That we can have Jeff Fritz, Code Rushed, or One Liner, all doing C#. Any one of those, or do you want to stick with Fritz.
Oh, that's so tough, Layla. That's so tough. How could you? Let's stick with Jeff. Let's stick with
All
Jeff.
right, let's go see Jeff then. Okay,
Okay.
let me kick this off, and then we shall say our farewells. There we go. All right, so I'm going to kick that off.
Awesome.
Putting you on the spot. I know I'm a bad Layla. So thank you so much, Elahn, for joining us. It's been a pleasure just talking about how to have more joy and happiness, and put fear away and let fear go to fun. I love that, transforming it. So yeah, thank you so much, and
Thank
thank
you
you
so
everyone
much,
for
Layla.
watching. Let's go over and say hi to Jeff, and we will see you. We'll see you soon.